The Amrit Bindu Upanishad, presented by Svayam Prakash Sharma. The Amrit Bindu Upanishad is a Yoga Upanishad. The Upanishad tells about the superiority of Brahm, the Supreme, over both book learning and over the audible parts of the word Om. It tells about the 6 limbs of Yoga. It tells about the rules and about the rewards of yoga, and it tells about prana or breath and its various branches. In the Muktika list of 108 Upanishads to be studied for salvation, the Amrit Bindu Upanishad figures at serial number 20. The Upanishad, the wise person who studies the religious texts, who studies the sacred scriptures again and again, once he has gained knowledge of Brahm, the Supreme, he no longer has any need of the scriptures. He throws them away as if they were burnt. He climbs onto the chariot of Om. He has Vishnu as his chariot driver. He then seeks the dwelling of the Brahma world to win Rudra for himself. But the chariot of Om is useful only as long as one is on the high road. When one comes to the end of the high road, then one must leave the chariot and proceed further on his own. One then also leaves behind the symbol Om, and then only with the silent M from Om, one reaches the silent, invisible place. The only reins for controlling the Atma are the mobile 6, which are the 5 objects of the senses and the mind. To know this is withdrawal. The 6 limbs of yoga are withdrawal, meditation, breath control, binding, reflecting, and communion. By melting the raw ore, the impurities of the slag in the ore are completely burnt. In the same way, by controlling the breath, the faults of the senses are completely burnt. By breath control, all the faults are burnt. By binding, all the sins are burnt. In this way, having destroyed sin completely, one should then think of the Shining One. And while one is thinking of the Shining One, a person should breathe out and breathe in again. In this process of breathing out and breathing in, 3 controls of breath are involved. First, breathing out is called emptying. Second, breathing in is called filling. And third, holding the breath, that is called retaining. Saying the Gayatri with its head along with the Vyartis, Bhur, Bhuva, Swaha, and the Pranav Om, saying them thrice in one breath is called breath control. And the head of the Gayatri is the formula Om Apo Jyoti Raso Amritam Brahma. Emptying is when, while breathing out, a person makes himself contentless. When a person makes himself into an empty space and then he restrains himself to this emptiness, that is called empty. When we drink water, we purse our lips into a round shape, like a lotus stalk. We make our lips round. In the same manner, one should draw in the air. This is called filling. And when one neither breathes out nor breathes in, and at the same time one does not move his limbs but keeps them still, and when the breathed in air is held fast within oneself in this manner, then That is called retaining. When you look at all forms like the blind, when you hear all sounds like the deaf, when you regard the body like a log of wood, then you are called the pacified. Then you are called the calmed. The mind is the organ of imagination, one who sinks the mind into the self, one who sinks the mind into the Atma. And in this way, when one remains shackled or bound to himself, that is known as shackling, that is known as binding. The thinking which is not contrary to the accepted doctrine, that thinking is called reflecting. What one already has and still ponders over it, that is the object of communion. One should sit down on a level, pleasant ground, free from defects, and take care of his mind and recite a formula referring to the sun, such as Yadetan Mandalam Tapti. Facing the north, one should sit in a proper yogic posture, such as the Padmasana, or the Swastikasana, or the Bhadrasana. Sitting in one of these asanas, he should close one nostril with a finger, and then he should breathe in with the other nostril. He should take in the air with the other nostril. He then blocks within himself the energy fire, and he meditates on the sacred sound Om. The syllable Om is Brahm. He should breathe out, reciting Om. Speaking this divine sound frequently, he washes away all the stains of the soul. He should then meditate on and recite the formula of the Gayatri with its head, along with the Vyartis, Bhur, Bhuva, Swa, followed by the prana of Om, thrice in one breath. He should do this repeatedly. In fact, he should do this more than repeatedly, for one can never have an excess of this. He should look in all directions. He should turn his eyes in all directions. He should look inwards within himself. He should look sideways. He should look above, and he should look downwards. He should sit still, motionless, firm of manner. Then he is truly practicing the yoga. With fixed rhythm in breathing, according to one's own tempo, with resignation or surrender, with shackling or binding, and with union, the yoga of 12 tones or 12 sounds or 12 forms is achieved. It is voiceless. It is not a consonant. It is not a vowel. It is not guttural. It is not palatal. It is not labial. It is not nasal. It is without a burring sound. It is spoken without moving the lips. It is the sacred syllable Om, which sounds silently. With this sound, he sees the path along which his prana goes. Therefore, he should always practice it, so that he always goes only along the right path, so that he always goes only along the right way. Through the gate of the heart, through the gate of the wind, through the gate which leads upward, and through the opening of the gate of liberation, which they know as the open orb, which they know as the open sphere, he goes through all these. A yogi should always be on his guard against the following: against fear, against anger, against sloth and laziness, against too much waking, against too much sleeping, against too much eating, against not eating at all. He should always be on his guard against all of these. If in this way he practices the yoga according to the rules at all times, then without a doubt, in 3 months' time, there will arise in him the knowledge. After 4 months, He sees the gods. After 5 months, he is as strong and as powerful as the gods. After 6 months, without doubt, he attains to the absolute at will. He becomes the absolute. He can become the absolute whenever he desires. Through 5 sounds of Om, he becomes like the earth. Through 4 sounds of Om, he becomes like the water. Through 3 sounds, he becomes like the fire. Through 2 sounds, he becomes like the wind. Through 1 sound, he becomes like the space. Yet, when he meditates on the half sound, then he is finished with the mind. Now, he does not think through the mind. He thinks through him and in him alone. The pran or the breath resides with the other prans, apan, saman, udan and vyan, in a space that is 30 fingers broad. This space serves as the playground to the breath outside. In a day and a night, there are 113,000 plus 180 number of incoming and outgoing breaths shared by the 5 prans. The main pran dwells in the heart. It resembles in luster a red-colored precious stone. The apan resides in the bowel. It shines like a reddish, scarlet-colored insect. Saman resides in the navel. It shines in the belly like a milk-colored mountain crystal. Udan resides in the neck and is pale yellowish in color. And last, Vyan runs all the time, continuously through all the limbs of the body, ruling them. It is of the color of a flame. And finally, in whom the vital breath breaking through this ring rises to the head. No matter where such a person dies, he is never born again. Yes, he is never born again. This concludes the Amrit Bindu Upanishad. Om Shanti Shanti.